Sanatanam, eternal. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki. So Vitrasura continued, O Indra, no one is guaranteed of being always victorious but the original enjoyer, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. And he knows everything. Being dependent and being obliged to accept material bodies, belligerent subordinates are sometimes victorious and sometimes defeated. Purport. Oh yeah, okay. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanisvisto, mataha smriti gyanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. When two parties fight, the fighting actually goes on under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, the Super Soul. Elsewhere in the Gita, in the chapter 3, text 27, the Lord says, Pakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Kamani Sarvashahi Shavasha Ahankara Vimut Datma Kartaham Miti Manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Prabhupada goes on to explain, the living entities work only under the direction of the Supreme Lord. The Lord gives orders to material nature, and she arranges facilities for the living entities. The living entities are not independent, although they foolishly think themselves the doers, karta. Victory is always with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As for the subordinate living entities, they fight under the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Victory or defeat is not actually theirs. It is an arrangement by the Lord through the agency of the material nature. Pride in victory or moroseness in defeat is useless. One should fully depend on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is responsible for the victory and defeat of all living entities. The Lord advises, Niyatam kuru karma thwam karma jayohi akamana. Perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. The living entity is ordered to act according to his position. Victory or defeat depends on the Supreme Lord. Kamani evadikaras te ma phalishu kadachana. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of actions. One must act sincerely according to his position. Victory or defeat depends on the Lord. Vritasura encouraged Indra, saying, don't be morose because of my victory. There's no need to stop fighting. Instead, you should go on with your duty. When Krishna desires, you will certainly be victorious. This verse is very instructive for sincere workers in the Krishna consciousness movement. We should not be jubilant in victory or morose in defeat. We should make a sincere effort to implement the will of Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we should not be concerned with victory and defeat. Our only duty is to work sincerely so that our activities may be recognized by Krishna. I'd like you all to sort of remember this this phrase here. We should not be concerned with victory and defeat. I think this is the theme of this text. Let me just repeat the translation of this verse. Vritasura continued, O Indra, no one is guaranteed of being always victorious but the original enjoyer, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, and he knows everything. Being dependent and being obliged to accept material bodies, belligerent subordinates are sometimes victorious and sometimes defeated. Okay. If you want, you can repeat the Magchalam prayers with me. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaptam Dikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Shagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gurangi Radhe Vindamaneshwari Vishabhanu Sudadevi Pranibami Hari Priye. Let me offer my dear obeisances to all you Vaishnavas here present. May you bless me with the ability to say something useful today. Vanchakalpa Tarvyascha Kripa Singhabhyavacha Patanam Pavemeyo Vishnu Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prashtaplali Srimakte Bhaktivedanta Swami Miti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachane Nivesesha Sunyani Pasha Desatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangung Nayata Girim Yakripatya Tamahamande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Good morning, everybody. Okay. So, if you remember that phrase about victory or defeat depends. Victory or defeat is depends on the Lord. Okay. Okay, I've thought hard about this text after yesterday's lesson by Kamalasita's Mataji. So, yesterday the lesson concentrated on three things: death, victory, and going back home. Okay. Today we're just going to concentrate on the concept of winning and losing. As you know, I think you all know that Vritasura was a creation by the father of Vishvarupa, who was the guru of Indra and who was killed by Indra because of a desire by Indra to win the war against the Asuras. So there was no concept of losing or having a drawn war where nobody wins. So we live in a world today, I think it's where a loser, nobody loves a loser, everyone loves a winner. And I think that there is a good example of this, which is the British electoral system. I don't know if anybody knows the British electoral system, where the winner takes all. So if you win an election, it doesn't matter whether you have 100 votes or 500 votes. If you're the party with the most votes, you win, and therefore all other parties are just not considered. But this is, at the electoral seat of each parliamentary member. It is a quirk in the word democracy, which the British actually invented. But I remember Prabhupada said, it's made of two words, demon and crazy. And it's crazy, it really is. And we can see that today. I'm not really proud being British at all, seeing what's happening in our political system. The general understanding about winning is that you have to be happy and glorious in what you win, regardless of what happens to the other party. Okay. I think whether you win a scholarship, or you win an election, or you win a Nobel Prize, or you win an Oscar for acting, but nobody actually talks about the people that don't win. So winning is the everything. It's the the be all and end all of everything. It was written by Niccolo Machiavelli, the book called The Prince. He said that the end justified the means. It doesn't matter what you do; you have to win, regardless. That is the I think the public conceptual understanding of winning. It's like another problem that we have is wars, and that is something that that we see. One party thinks they win, and one party thinks they loses. But if you look at it as a spiritualist, then you know that in war everyone loses. And you say, what do winners lose? Well, they can lose respect, they can lose compassion. I think when you lust for power, you lose purity. And then worst of all, when you get to the extreme, you lose your mind. Okay? There was a lesson by Srila Prabhupada in 1971 where he actually spoke on winning and losing as victory or defeat. Okay? So Prabhupada said that as long as a man does not develop consciousness to understand himself, which is the Atma Tattvam, the truth of yourself, then whatever he does in ignorance is complete defeat in his life. You lose out in everything, in every sense. And this, Prabhupada said, is the biggest defeat anyone can suffer. And yet, human life, which you are lucky to have, if you think about the fact that there are 8,400,000 species of life, it just means we've been here for a very, very long time and evolve, and then finally, out of God's mercy, you get this human body. Prabhupada said human life is meant to be for being victorious, and you may ask, victorious for over what? But victorious over the material nature was his answer. Okay. We are trying to be victorious, but we're trying to be victorious over the material nature, and we, unless you're conscious that you are not that body, then the onslaught of material nature will always win. You lose there. Nobody can defeat. I know all the scientists in the world are trying to concoct something. We're just not able to defeat old age, death, or disease. Okay, they're there for our how do you call it, learning cycle in this material world. There are many people who will try to defeat or to win against the material nature and old age. If you think about Hollywood actors, they try to defeat old age and by plastic surgery. I think the most famous place is Los Angeles. What did a student of mine once say? I mean student because I was an English teacher. LA, Los Angeles, stands for liposuction and augmentation. Okay. So you have people spending lots of Lakshmi, trying to look like. Oh God, you'll understand my age when I think of an old English model called Twiggy. So this is what the perfect body is supposed to be, and augmentation is so that you don't have any wrinkles around your face or anywhere. So they call it lifting. Other ways that we try to beat old age and all that is to put makeup, and I think even men I've discovered use makeup. I got shocked about this one. Not that I have anything against makeup. If you want to put makeup, we put tilak anyway, so we put a bit of makeup, but then it's for Krishna, not for ourselves. Okay, so all these things are going on, but nobody really understands the ultimate winning situation. The victory is to conquer these four things. Sorry, the cycle of life: birth, death, disease, and old age. I mean, that's the real victory. It's not about losing a battle and winning a war, like a lot of famous saying goes. Oh, we can lose a battle, but we'll win the war. I think if you lose all the battles, it doesn't matter, but you have to transcend the war, rise above it, and you can only do that by learning not to be a loser in the material sense. And how do you do that? You do that by being here, listening to my boring voice, for example, because we're here because we're trying to revive that dormant Krishna consciousness that has been asleep for millions of lifetimes. You can only do this in this human form of life. So if you really mess up your human life, you go back to, it's like, anybody played Snakes and Ladders? Okay, so human life is like you just got up the top of ladder, so you can't mess around. You're going to make sure you throw the dice really properly to move on to get to the next ladder. Because if you hit the snake, you go back and we regress. And this is the what Prabhupada was trying to tell us to be successful in this life, and don't waste time. Because what is your aim? Your aim is not to win the wars or to win an election, etc. Your aim is to win a direct trip back home to Godhead. Okay, it's not and Godhead. I think some religions, especially Christianity, because I used to be Catholic, and they tell you. You ask where is God, and they usually say it's there. And in the Gospel of Saint Thomas, some people know this. I've told them. Jesus says, if your spiritual leaders tell you that God or paradise or eternal home is there in the sky, then the birds will get there before you. Okay, so this is, your winning is actually. Getting in touch with God first within you, and that's the winning. It's not about the externals. We can win only by listening to our spiritual leaders, so our gurus, whoever your guru is. Inside and outside. So inside you have your super soul, the Paramatma, where Krishna is present and he's instructing you. And also your true friends. Your true friends are your fellow devotees. They're not anybody else really, because everybody else who's not a devotee will only bring you more into contact with Maya, and you really want to get to win this trip back home to Godhead by being in touch with God's servants. We really are quite how do you call it, conditioned and entrapped by the material nature, because until you become Krishna conscious, until we became Krishna conscious. The Paramatma has been there all the time that you've been here, telling you, to come back home, wake up, and to wake up. But there, you're there, the Atma, sitting with your headphones and blindfold, and this, or whatever, or virtual reality, and you think that this is you are the body, and this is what winning is, being in this world. So I wanted to bring up about winning and losing, which is which is what a lot of people who have read the Gita but not Prabhupada's book as it is, think they consider the Gita a book about winning and or losing. Why? Because if you look at the first chapter, it means that on the first chapter, where there are all the questions that we should be asking, nobody's really understood the first chapter. And you can take the very simple example of Duryodhana, who is the military chief of the Kurus, yeah, he's trying to convince himself, in a way he's pulling the wool over his own eyes, that his army was stronger than that of the Yadavas, the Pandavas, because he says that he had grandfather Bhishma on his side, and the other side had only Bhima. In reality, the whole Gita is not about having Bhishma or Bhima on your side to win. Success in its purity, or whether we have God on our side or not some another living entity. And God in this side, and in this case is Krishna. And lo and behold, Krishna was the chariot driver of Arjuna. Okay, and we likewise in our hearts should also understand this and choose Krishna as our guide, our driver in the chariot of our body. As you know, the Prabhupada explains that I think in one of his lessons that the body is the chariot, and the horses that pull the chariot are your senses. Okay, so taste, sight, hearing, smelling, and something tactile, touching. Okay, yes, good. Okay, the mind, this incredible playground for Maya, is the hands of the charioteer. Okay, and the charioteer is actually the supreme intelligence, and we, the soul, are the passenger. Now, there was a song by Bob Dylan called "God on Our Side," where he actually looks at sarcastically at the American policy, of winning. They justified everything that God was on their side, and actually nobody really understood that. God is on nobody's side; He's on everybody's side, and that's that the victory for God is to bring every living entity, including the trees and the aquatics and the mammals, all back to Him in Goloka Vrindavana. So this duality of winning or losers is really not is really not so important, because if you winners are naturally defeated by their false ego and pride. If you win, you think, "Wow, I'm great," and losing actually is a lesson to learn. It teaches you humility and tolerance. It doesn't matter whether you're a devotee. It doesn't mean that if you're a devotee that you're a winner also. Okay, don't let this ever make you proud. It's I think it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur that said, even as devotees, we have this problem. The 8 stages the 8 or 9 stages of becoming a devotee or reaching prema. The fourth stage, the anatta nivritti, is the hardest obstacle to cross. And if we are proud as devotees, then we actually do not progress back to Godhead. We are held back, and then you have to come back again and try, start from the beginning. So we're not. So victory can be consumed by the what do you call it? The enemies of the mind very easily. Do we know the enemies of the mind? Karma, desire. Krodha, anger. Another one? Lobha, which means greed. Yes. Another one, arrogance, is mada. Illusion, moha. And a terrible one, matsarya, jealousy or envy. Now these 6 enemies of the mind actually prevent us from liberating ourselves. And so it's it's a hard fight. You can win so many things materially. You can win a good job, get a good position, but it means nothing if you don't conquer your mind and put Krishna in the center of your life. So going back to this text here, we see that this whole chapter begins with Indra desiring not to lose or equal the asuras. He just wanted victory at any cost. Yeah. Even to the extent of beheading his guru Vishvarupa for treachery, because Vishvarupa was an elevated guru. He didn't want either side to win, and this is God consciousness. He would give information and or guidance to both sides. Okay, he was not. I think there's in chapter 9 of the Gita, Krishna says, "Samoham sarva bhuteshu." I'm equal to all. Yeah. So by beheading Vishvarupa, Indra was immediately, he didn't win anything. He was defeated by his anger. Already there he was defeated. Okay. If he had been just that one tiny drop of tolerant regarding Vishvarupa desire for well-wishing everybody, including the enemies of the devatas, then that tolerance would have helped him understand that victory or defeat are both in Krishna's hands. And this is seen because through Vitasura, although he's an asura, he's actually a saintly person born in an asura's body, but because he had some problems in the past, in another life, he came back as this elevated demon by Krishna's arrangement, because his creator, the father of Vishvarupa, did a sacrifice and pronounced the mantra wrongly. And so Vitasura knew that he came into this life to be killed by Indra, and for him, this attitude made him more devotional than Indra himself, who's a super demigod. So I think, I like to conclude by saying that victory or defeat depends on your consciousness. If you can see these things, this goes through the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. It's about transcending everything that's material. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is like a super, Christmas gift, and when you unwrap it, you just got little gifts in every, little boxes of presents. You have to open these, and you mustn't think of them that they are things to make you successful or something, or to win something. It's about they're about learning to be appreciated. About how lucky you are to have this human body, and that your opportunity and possibility of reconnecting with God, which is in Latin relegare, and from there the word religion comes. So that actually reminded me of something, of another verse in the Gita. It's about, what was that verse? It was chapter 2. I think Krishna says that what is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-control. Okay? And this is what we really should be. Because in this human body, you can be either engage in activities for sense gratification, or which means that you remain asleep in reality, or you can be that introspective being that is mentioned in chapter 2, I think text 69. It's because if you are introspective and look within yourself, then you actually really wake up and you become self-conscious. So I remind you what Vitasura said in this text, that to Indra, that no one is guaranteed of being victorious, but the original enjoyer. God never loses; He always wins. Just understand that. He's the cause of everything: creation, maintenance, and annihilation. And He knows everything. He's told us that also in chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. He knows your past, future, and present. I also asked one question: if Krishna knows everything about our past, future, and present, then why do we bother? We know that our future is guaranteed. We go back to Godhead. It's not guaranteed. That's why Krishna came, because He knows our future is really bleak. If we continue down this road, we're just going to go into a deeper and darker hell. It ends being dependent and being obliged to accept material bodies. Belligerent subordinates are sometimes victorious and sometimes defeated. So I hope we've all been defeated today and gained something from this and victorious over ourselves. I end and thank you for listening. Are there any questions or comments or rotten tomatoes? I'm collecting for the salad for Prasan today. I'm joking. Any questions?
Just one little thing on the last thing you said. Yeah. I was just wondering, if time is infinite and the cycle of creation keeps happening over and over again, would it not be so that every soul will eventually at some point go back to Godhead, given enough time?
Certainly, but I think time is infinite only in the sense of spiritual time. It's eternal. Time here is not infinite because everything will get annihilated at some stage. I think you asked me that question, and you asked me about the universal, the Vishvarupa, the universal form, isn't it? Yeah. This is a question that I received last night when I was about to go to bed. After trying to get myself to grip with this lesson today, or this presentation of the text. The universal form of Krishna is actually the time form in this material world. So everything that Arjuna saw or was privileged to see was the material world, starting at one point and ending at one point. And everything ends in the mouth of these images that Arjuna was privileged to see. It's not the eternal time that Krishna says he is at the end of the Gita. I think it's chapter 15. I think something to do about the time that never ends, infinite, and that's
Death, destroyer of worlds. Is it that one?
oh yeah, but that's the material side of it. But then time in the spiritual side of it doesn't end. There's no beginning or end. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And you ask also, I think about if you read chapter 11, you'll understand also. You asked another question. I just not remembered now. Sorry, guys, but he asked about the Krishna's form. His original form is a two-arm form. Then you have the Narayan forms, which is the four-arm, and from there you get all the other manifestations of God, like Vishnu and all that. They have four arms, but God Himself. That's why you're right. The Christians were right also. God created man in His image. And this is the best form actually to go, to identify yourself with God and to praise Him, to worship Him, to do everything that you can do to get back home. Okay, because if there's any other form, it's just you're not really conscious, or you can never be conscious really. That's why animals don't have any karma. They can kill another animal for food. Because that's what they desired. They desired because they believed in their past life, ignorance is bliss. So knowledge is really the real bliss that we're looking for. Any other comments, questions? Mataji? Hare Krishna.
You mentioned that sometimes we could lose all the battles but win the war.
No, that's a material concept. I said you can lose all battles. It doesn't matter. But we should transcend the war, because if you lose all the battles, you lost the war anyway. But it is always said, by famous generals, whether it was Napoleon or Alexander the Great. He would, in a way, to inspire and motivate their men. They would say, "We lost that battle, but we will win the war." This concept of winning is really what drives. If you watch sports, everybody loves a winner. And this is the. Are you from Britain?
South Africa.
Okay. So you know rugby.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to play rugby. I know it doesn't show. I was just quick enough to get away from being trampled on by 100-kilogram boys, in school. Rugby has become very, very, I think, dangerous sport now, because if you look at our rugby players today, compared when I played, because when I played, I was 65 kilograms, so I was just good enough to play wing. I wouldn't get involved with the scrum. But if you today to run, to be a three-quarter runner with the ball, you need to be at least 85 kilograms, because otherwise you get squashed by these guys who are now 120 kilograms. I think I can't remember the weight of some of these forwards. They're big guys. So and it's what's coming back to this. What I was going to tell you is that this desire to win today is not looking so beautiful and bright. Why? Because there's so many rugby players who are losing their mental faculties. I don't know if you know that. A few English players. I don't know about South African players. I know of English players because they appear on my favorite newspaper, The Guardian. They what they call it.